And I'm very happy again to be at this center. I will start with Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri Mantra, because that is the light of the truth, and we must invoke that light. So I will just chant the mantra. Om Tat Savitur Varam Rupam Jyotihi Parasya Dhimahi Yannaha Satyena Deepayet Yannaha Satyena Deepayet Yannaha Satyena Deepayet. Om. We are all meeting for this series of talk after a long time. So I will just sum up in brief about this series of talk and what we are aiming to understand by it. Basically, Sri Aurobindo's yoga, integral yoga, is always aimed at knowing oneself as thoroughly as possible. Because unless we know ourselves thoroughly, how will we know the divine, which is still more higher and deeper within us? So we have to keep on fathoming the layers of our being, understand the various parts, how they function, how they influence us. So we know that we are guided by the nature, which is mostly operating on the surface, whereas our deeper nature is behind us, above us, and we can get access to that part which has all the knowledge, all the joy, all the power, and everything that we lack on the surface. So by peeling layers after layers, laying them bare into a kind of, surgical operation that we have to do ourselves as much as we can, explore our depths, explore our inner and outer, all the parts, so that we understand and reach our true being, our soul, whose light alone can guide us towards the truth. And we take birth after birth for this purpose only, to know our true selves. And Mother in her prayers says, to know thee and to manifest thee. Knowing is not enough, manifesting. Now, manifesting in simple language would be to show, experience the divine qualities that we have. When you manifest something, when you put it out, you put out the essence of it, the true thing that it represents. So the personality that is put out is only a mask. It's only the outer structure. But what it has to reflect, this mask, this outer structure has to reflect that inner being with its full effulgence, with its full power. So in every birth, we make this supreme effort to continue to understand ourselves in a way that we are able to remove the obstacles, that we are able to dilute the ignorance, the darkness, we lessen it. And as many levels that we can understand and explore, the more will be our gain in this birth and after also. So why we are in this situation right now is very well explained by Mother's prayer. So I'll begin with this prayer, which is almost stating the present situation of all of us, the majority of us. So this prayer is of February 16, 1914. Mother says, O Supreme Soul Reality, True Consciousness, Permanent Oneness, Sovereign Repose of Perfect Light, with what an intensity I aspire to be conscious of only Thee, to be only Thyself. This incessant world of unreal personalities, this multiplicity, this complexity, this excessive, inextricable confusion of conflicting thoughts, struggling tendencies, battling desires, seems to be more and more frightful. I must emerge from this raging sea, land on thy serene and peaceful shore. Give me the energy of an indefatigable swimmer. I would conquer thee, however great may be the effort needed for that. O Lord, ignorance must be vanquished, illusion dispelled. This sorrowful universe must come out of its hideous nightmare, end its terrible dream, and awaken at last to the consciousness of thy soul reality. O immutable peace, deliver men from ignorance. May thy plenary and pure light reign everywhere. So see, on the one side, the mother invokes the true consciousness, permanent oneness, sovereign repose of perfect light, where everything is full of light, full of energy, full of peace. And on the other side, this numerous human lives is full of what? Unreal personalities. Like, shadows, mostly what you say, when children also join some sort of a fancy dress or some function, they wear different kind of costumes. So basically, this personality is like a costume of the soul with different personalities, different colors. So she says, this multiplicity, this complexity, excessive confusion of conflicting thoughts. We all of us have conflicting thoughts. We don't have a single thought. Should I do this? Should I not do this? If I do this, these consequences will happen. If I do this, this will happen. What should I do? No clear direction, and energy is lost in thinking. And one of the most troublesome feature of today's generation, young and old and everyone, is overthinking. Everyone overthinks. Maybe because there are so many choices, or maybe there are so many options, or there are so many avenues open. And there's so much influence of ideas. You take any topic, you will have minimum 50 to 100 ideas before you. If you want to do something, maybe go somewhere, there are so many things. If you want to wear something, you have to eat something. If you want to engage in a creative activity, anything, there are so many ideas, and all are struggling in the mental atmosphere, and the dominant ones win, but you are caught as if in a storm. Just visualize a storm right now. No, the kind of storm and hurricane and all that that often comes to Pondicherry every year almost. When you are there, you can see that the sky has darkened. There are black clouds and the wind is blowing in full speed. You have to close all your doors and windows. And if you are living in a place where you can see trees, you see the way the trees are swaying here and there, you feel that they might, just fall down with the force of the wind. So we can see the storm outside of the nature. But we experience the storm inside within us of the conflicting thoughts, struggling tendencies. Each one of us are so complex. There used to be simplicity, maybe in the time of our grandfathers and grandmothers, there were no options for food or any such thing, or so there were 2 or 3 or 5 things, there was never a discussion of what to cook, what to do, what not to do. Simple, very simple choices. Well, I don't say that was very good and now it is bad. There's nothing good or bad about it. We are evolving, humanity is evolving, society is evolving. So these changes are inevitable. And she says battling desires and all that. Now, mother sees it like a raging sea, when the sea is roaring and all that. It's like a raging sea within us. And that is why she asks from the divine that give me the energy of an indefatigable swimmer. Because I don't want to drown in this sea, the storm and all that. I want to become a swimmer. I want to reach the shore, crossing all these things. Because the shore is the place where it'll all be very quiet. Now, in order to reach the shore, that is what mother is asking, to remove ignorance and dispel illusion. So what is the ignorance and what is the illusion? That we must think. So ignorance, anyone can tell me what ignorance we are in generally? What are we ignorant of? True self, yes. We are ignorant of our true self.
Ignorant of the nature.
Yes, yes.
How we behave. We think it is us, but actually nature is.
Correct. Yeah. See, Anirban, you said very rightly, we know that there is a true self in us. But from where do we operate? From the true self? We operate from the ego, which is ignorant. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So knowing our true self, we still cannot operate from that deeper part because somehow it's not accessible to us in that way, or we have not made an effort for it to bring forward to govern our life. The true self is quite deep. And what is the illusion? Illusion, Maya, Brahmana, वो क्या है? कौन से illusion में हम रहते हैं?
As if we are doing.
Exactly. We are the doer, that is the illusion. दूसरा बताइए list, please.
I know everything.
I know everything. I'm doing everything.
What I do is right.
What I do is right. That is an illusion.
Others are incorrect.
Yeah. What other illusions we are having? There are so many illusions. Number of illusions.
Basically, our realm itself is of ignorance now.
Correct.
So.
Correct. Okay. So I'll list a few. I do everything. I know everything. I know what I do is right. And I know myself. It's the greatest illusion. Do you know yourself? You don't know.
Every second sentence we claim.
I know myself. That is also a great illusion. And the illusion that follows this illusion is
I know others.
I know others. वो भी उतनी ही बड़ी माया है. And every day we are operating from this, false knowledge false state of mind, and we just go about confidently. And most of the time in the relationships in family, between husband, wife, or children and parents and everyone says, you don't understand me. So we expect most of the time for others to understand us. And just imagine, now when we know certain things, we can laugh over it. Whom are you asking to understand yourself? As if you are asking the blind man to lead you to somewhere. The person himself has no eyes, and you want to lean on the blind man to reach there. So the illusion just keeps on perpetuating. And it is sometimes in so many prayers, I see that this kind of illusion is like a torpor. जैसे मूर्छा है, एक निद्रा है, एक नशा है. So you see, when if you've seen an alcoholic or somebody who that person cannot walk properly, that person cannot think properly, because the system is totally messed up with the chemicals, and the original thinking has been lost. And we think, I'm not an addict, I'm not an alcoholic, I don't drink, I don't smoke. But we are all addicts of the illusion that our senses give us, the data that our eyes give, the data that our ears give, the data that all the five senses give us. And if we are only dependent on those data for our survival and our life, then we are quite similar to people under intoxication. Almost similar. क्योंकि माया का भी एक इन्फ्लुएंस है, असर है, नशा है. It shows you things that are not real. It's just an appearance. जैसे वो ग्लो लाइट्स होती है, वो आप उस लाइट में देखोगे तो चीजें नीली पीली वो दिखेगी. ग्लासेस, टिंटेड ग्लासेस. यस. तो क्या होता है कि when you can see the true light, when you can understand the true self, things that appeared in a certain way will appear totally differently. Recently, I read in Mother's volumes that when you start going deeper and knowing your true self, all the values of life change. What it means that what you consider difficulty is not a difficulty. It is an interesting challenge and a game for you to overcome. It's not a difficulty. What you consider as a great calamity, misfortune, becomes a stepping stone for a greater revelation, a greater courage, a greater light, and an entirely new and different life, a better one. There are hundreds of people who have been into serious accidents or almost fatal diseases. And when they've recovered, they have written that if we had not faced this difficulty, perhaps we would not have understood certain truths and understood that what life is meant for. So, what integral yoga teaches us always is that just pause. Don't get caught up in the difficulties, all the storm, the battling desires, tendencies. Don't get caught up, don't get disturbed. And what you feel is a difficulty or an obstacle is just, telling you to endure for a while, and the next step, you will get what you want. Those who have done trekking in the Himalayas and other places know that when you start climbing, it is very tough, and it is so much of rocks and shrubs and thorny trees here. And you have to just go on and go on and go on. And at last, when you reach the peak, maybe you can see a great natural stream somewhere down, or a pond or something, and the view is so fantastic that you forget the trouble. Exactly these kind of things happen in life also. So I'm just going to read a passage written by the mother, that what is our attitude towards life and circumstances, the normal attitude that we have. First of all, she says, attitudes come from a consciousness which is deeper or higher than of the physical, vital, and mental parts of the being, are quite opposite of the attitudes that prevail in our ordinary consciousness. So, those attitudes stemming from a consciousness which is deeper than physical, vital, and mental are different from the attitudes that prevail in our ordinary consciousness. Now, how do we understand that the attitude that we have is coming from our deeper self, higher self, or it is coming from the ordinary self? How do we understand? So, this can be understood by our attitude towards circumstances and towards people around us. So she says the chief characteristics of the common attitude towards circumstances consists in regarding them as the causes of sorrow or happiness. Now, how many of us have thought in this way, that my sorrow or my happiness depended upon the outer situation, the circumstances? Almost always we feel, every time we feel that, oh, if this was not happening, I would be happy. If my son or my daughter was studying properly, I would have no problem in life. I just want them to study well and do well. Then when they study and they have a degree, my daughter is not getting married. My son is not getting a job. If he just gets a job, all my problems will be gone. And there are a number of these, you all know, I'm not going to, some would say that, oh, if my mother-in-law was staying somewhere else, I would be happy. Or, if my husband did not have this habit, or the husband would think that if my wife would not be such and such. Anyway, in short, this sort of an attitude comes from the ordinary human life. And we give so much importance on all that. This attitude is so deeply ingrained in us that most people are not even conscious of it. Not to speak of questioning its validity. We don't even validate. Is it because of the circumstances that I'm feeling bad? Or is it my attitude towards it? Whether you have encountered such people or not, I have encountered many people who would grumble when there is summer season. I can understand. In our country, summer is on. But when monsoon comes, then also says, yeah, monsoon is good, but it's all wet everywhere and, it's not comfortable going. And it's winter, he says, yeah, winter is good, but, this happens. So everything and every situation, or, if this government would, do this or this policy or that policy, everything would be right. If they're not doing it well. Or wherever we work, we feel our institution, our company, our college. So everything, we have this tendency. So because of such an attitude, people are constantly occupied with trying to change or improve what appeared to us to be inimical, unfavorable, or less than optimal circumstances. So when you have this attitude, you try to, change in some way or the other. You change or you want to improve so that you can make it better for yourself. So such an attitude leads to two chief consequences. Two consequences arise out of having this attitude. First, the dependence on circumstances gives them a supremacy. Dependence on circumstances gives them the supremacy. For example, if you are irritated at someone in your family, you constantly get irritated and you just tell the person not to do this, not to do that, not to speak like that. So you're giving power to that person to make you unhappy every time. That person unconsciously knows that if I do this, that person will be irritated. So for everything, when you get upset, you are giving power to the person or the circumstance to rule you. And secondly, what it happens, and it maims the power of the will. Your willpower becomes damaged. You have no willpower because you are totally dependent on what is happening around you. You do not exercise your willpower. Like, when mostly these days, early morning, your maid calls and says, today I'm not coming. And what happens, you really put your hand on the head and say, oh my God, how will my day go? There's another way of looking at it. Okay, fine. I'll do what I can. I'll leave the rest. I'll make things simpler for me, So what you have done, you have started thinking and applying your will to make the situation better for you. And not even thinking that, oh, why she didn't come, or I can't do this and so difficult for me and this and that. You just try to adapt, adjust, and just move on. It's okay. It's okay. This is one very powerful word, it's okay. And then when the power of will is damaged and people don't repair it, it is the beginning of the development of a neurosis. Anxiety neurosis and all different sorts of mental health issues do come. Nowadays, it has become so common to be stressful, to be anxious, to be insecure, to be fearful, to be hurrying all the time for making, ends meet, running here and there. People don't realize that this is not normal. It has become a new normal for many years now. People say, yeah, this is life, modern life, fast life, this happens. But what happens that over the years, it damages your nerve cells, it damages your body, and you become less and less capable of coping up with the years that come forward. How many people above the age of 60 have you seen who are cool, calm, laughing at things, adjusting with the situation? How many have you seen? Very few. Most of the time we see in the families that people above 60 are grumbling, complaining, criticizing, and always thinking about the good old times and what has happened to world and people and youngsters and TV and mobile and what not. So the thing is that why you have come to this stage where you make your life and the others miserable? Because you have not trained yourself in the young years. Unless you start training yourself right from your 20s, 30s, 40s, you will not be able to do it plus 60. Because it'll be difficult for you to do it. Any change has to be done as soon as possible. It's not impossible. It can be done plus 60 also. But there's so much of an accumulated information in your mind and all to make it all peaceful. Becomes a bit difficult. When we want to give shape to a plant, we do it as when the plant is younger. We mold it, we shape it. When it becomes long and dry, you can't shape it. So the training has to start earlier. When certain young children are interested in meditation or spiritual things, normally, parents or they say, "Kya jaldi hai abhi? Abhi se kya? Abhi to mauj karo, maja karo, have fun, live life and all that." But whosoever has the tendency, or if the parents are conscious, they can train their children to remain quiet or to read something good or to sit for meditation, because the sooner they start, it will be so easy for them to understand that. Okay, so if you do not use your power of will, it damages and you start the first stage of the development of a neurosis. Secondly, since the attitude that happens is to be found in favorable circumstances is based on an illusion, people never discover the true inner well-being. So this is the illusion that favorable circumstances can alone make me happy. Circumstances have the power to make me happy or sad. So mother's lines are again, people think that their condition depends on circumstances, but that is all false. If somebody is a nervous wreck, he thinks that if circumstances are favorable, he will improve. No, you change the person's location. You change the person from one place to another, one family to another, or you place him or her in an senior citizen, this thing, that the kind of mind and the nervousness will still keep on be. Secondly, if somebody is, he thinks that if circumstances are favorable, he will improve. But actually, even if they are favorable, he will remain what he is. It is not the circumstances that have to be changed. What is required is an inner change. From the viewpoint of yoga, it is the attitude towards an event or circumstance that determines the kind of effect it has on us. Now, Mother gives us a wonderful solution to it. How can we overcome this? Now this is in the prayer, as I said, swimmer. You have to become a swimmer. So she is teaching us how to swim in this kind of a situation, how to overcome. Your head is under the water, how you can put it, above the water, and how you can change. So, the first thing is to remove the ignorance that there is a state. Over here, state means a state of consciousness, a state of understanding, a state of enlightenment, knowing. There is a state in which one realizes that the effect of things, circumstances, all the movements and actions of life on the consciousness depends almost exclusively upon one's attitude to these things. First, you understand that it was my attitude which made me unhappy. It was my attitude, my reaction. Now, coming to more, practical kind of, it is our reaction to a particular thing. We react. And if you observe yourself, because this is the exercise that we can do with ourselves. If we can observe ourselves, and this observation can be done or should be done rather every day, that how many times during the day did I react to a situation, react to something that happened, or I acted from the calm and peace from within myself. And many times, we hurry to give a response. Somebody asks us, somebody says something, we are almost spontaneously giving an answer, giving a response, either verbally or through messages also. And that is a great weakness. If we pause, if we take time, then perhaps we would not react but act. And 99.9% of the time, we think that, oh, this person said this or did this because of something in me or because of me that this happened. Now, it may not be true. It happens with neighbors or maybe relatives also. Because since I'm a counselor, I get so many feedback from my clients saying that, yesterday I went to a family gathering and one of my sister-in-law, she didn't even look at me, and I acknowledged and I said this, that. And people continue to say that I'm so nice to my colleague, I keep on helping. But yesterday and day before, that person I called and the person didn't answer. It happens so many times. Now, in most of the cases, what happens that the reaction of the other person that you observed may not be anything to do with you. It could be because that person is undergoing certain situations, certain problems, certain issues in life. But you are on unsure grounds. Perhaps you are not confident. Perhaps you lack little of self-esteem. You have certain, and you feel that the person did not act favorably towards you, has something to do with you. And we misinterpret. So many times we misinterpret things and we get upset. And a chain of reaction keeps on happening. And these are also unnecessary. When you understand, you feel that how many hours of your life and how much energy have you lost in processing things that are completely unnecessary, and it could have been just brushed aside, that okay, it must be his or her issue, nothing to do with me. I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good on my path. So this state of consciousness where you understand that the actions of life on the consciousness depends almost on my attitude towards it, my reaction towards it. If I can control my reactions, my attitude, I can absolutely, control the narrative of my life. Now, this is something that I'll discuss in detail. You get that power, you take that power back. You give it to yourself, that power to decide how you want to feel. There are many thinkers, they say that this very moment, whatever you are feeling, whatever you are experiencing, you have chosen to feel that way. It is not given to you. Suppose something is not happening and you choose to be unhappy. You have chosen it. If you know that you have chosen it and you have the willpower to offer it to the mother and say, may thy will be done, I do not want this feeling, immediately you will feel peaceful. This is one great important thing that you can use. Offer it. Don't feel what you do not want to feel. And don't continue to feel. Of course, it happens because of habit, but you don't continue to feel that way. So the next thing that one realizes is, there is a moment when one becomes sufficiently conscious to realize that things in themselves are truly neither good nor bad. They are this only in relation to us. Their effect on us depends absolutely upon the attitude we have towards them. The same thing, identically the same, if we take it as a gift from God, a divine grace, as a result of the full harmony, helps us to become more conscious, stronger, more true. While if we take it exactly the very same circumstance as a blow from fate, as a bad force wanting to affect us, this constricts us, weighs us down, takes away from us all consciousness and strength and harmony. And the circumstance in itself is exactly the same. Of this, I should like you all to have the experience. For when you have it, you become master of yourself. Not only master of yourself, but in what concerns you, master of the circumstances of your life. And this depends exclusively upon the attitude you take. So I was just talking that when you change the whole attitude, you change the narrative of your life. What by narrative, what I mean, that all of us have some inner thinking or dialogue or belief within us, in our, maybe it's subconscious most of the time, that I was not a very favorite. I'm just giving an example. I was not a very favorite child of my parents. I did not have what I wanted to have, or any such thing. Or I wanted to do this, but my father did not allow me to do this. I wanted to do this course, or I wanted to have this job, or I wanted to marry this one or that one. I was not allowed the choice. So there are always some things or the other, the plus and minuses of life, which becomes the narrative of your life. You take your life as, somewhere not being perfect, not being happy, not being completely good, and that keeps on shaping your reactions to life. So when you understand that, oh, whatever the circumstances there were, I'll just give you one example. There was one middle class family, a working father and a homemaker mother. It's a story about 50 years ago. And there were 3 kids in that house, and they were given very good education. They were given good opportunities to learn what they could learn, but the parents were not extravagant. They gave only what was necessary, not everything that they wanted. So out of the 3 kids, 2 never felt that they lacked anything. They always felt that, oh, parents have given us sufficiently. They were happy. One was always dissatisfied, though he got the same from the parents. And as he grew up, this sort of kept on going on in his heart. I did not get this when I wanted. I did not get that. Despite him having now very good money and very good position and very good everything, this narrative just does not go that I was not treated well or my parents could have done more. So what I'm trying to say is that the same circumstances, the same sort of amenities, the same sort of gifts, the same sort of opportunities were given to all the 3, but the other 2 never had that complaint, but one had. So what I mean to say is that is if you have some kind of a narrative of your life which puts you in a situation where you feel that, oh, this was not good, not right, whatever it was, right now, here, you can change that. You can change that. At whatever it was, it helped me to grow. It has helped me to come here. And today, now, I have the power to do what I want to do. I can do what I want to do. So this power we have to take back, because it is there within us. It's just the ignorance and the illusion of the outer nature that makes us feel helpless, whereas we are not helpless. Every situation, if we stop labeling it as good, bad, favorable, unfavorable, is the best for us at any given moment of time. So with this, I end, and I would like you all to share something or ask something, anything that you want. Yeah.
So to change the attitude, we have to connect with our best known self, if not true self, I say.
Yeah. See, the best help is your intellect, your buddhi, which knows the truth. Because we are reading and we are exposing ourselves to knowledge. Buddhi knows, intellect knows, but the mind and the vital takes time. So the buddhi has to prevail, because there we have the willpower. If we get this suggestion, oh, this is not good, this is not favorable, immediately that alarm, should start. That reminder, no, don't take it this way. So you have to, not pay attention to the kind of thoughts that may disturb you. So one exercise that one can do every morning is to make a will that today I'm going to be very, very peaceful and happy. I'm not going to react or anything. I mean, you make a will that I want my day to pass this way. I want to be peaceful, or I want to be joyous, or I want to be non-reacting. So when you make that resolution, then whatever contradicts that resolution, you will be aware of. Your own mind will help you to remind you that why you decided not to react, why you're reacting.
Sometimes this attitude also, if it is deviated, then it gives kind of uneasiness also.
Yes.
You don't feel within good yourself.
Yes.
See others.
Yeah. Then you have to sit and examine what happened. Why am I feeling uneasy?
Then you get to know that.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell, I just said earlier, that don't take it as normal, that feeling of uneasiness, the feeling of stress, the feeling of anxiety. If you take it as normal, then you will never get to the true being, You should not just accept it as normal. Otherwise, you are again, reinforcing the layers that are there. Just like when you are doing, ironing the clothes, you iron out all the creases that are there. So invoking peace and joy is like, just removing all the small disturbances, irritations, anxieties, everything.
Probably we want to project ourselves, so we act and react in.
Yes.
How to deal with others, like if we want to be joyous and somebody is being nasty and wound.
Yeah.
How to come back to.
You see, there is a power which is known as a static power of silence, the power of not reacting, to be still. If you do not like somebody's attitude, the way they speak or that, you can just still yourself and very firmly said, sorry, don't speak to me like that. I will not answer. Or, sorry, I'm going. No comment. So you will say with firmness, and you will be very still physically, and you will look into the eyes, calm eyes, and that will have a great effect. The person will know. Because you see, a person keeps on being nasty to us because they know that they have the power to disturb you. And human beings have such contradictory nature. There are people who love to create disturbances and unhappiness in others' lives because they are themselves unhappy. जो दुखी होगा वही दूसरों को दुखी करेगा ना. The person who is happy and contented and harmonious will just spread that. What do you spread? What you have, what you are. To have that joy and peace, you will be radiating that. But if you are full of yourself, all those negativities, you will distribute that negativities. But we have a choice not to accept that. It comes with a bit of practice. So you have to sit and visualize. Because I'm a counselor, I tend to give practical advice. You have to just sit and visualize that if this person comes, what am I going to do? Just visualize that, yes, the person is coming, is saying these things. I'm standing in front, but I'm not reacting. I'm being still. And inwardly, you can also invoke the mother's presence. Mother, help me. Be with me. In many difficult times, I have tried to do that in certain meetings, and that mother sit with me. I'll just imagine, no, just she's there in the meeting, and it gives a sort of peace and power.
Some people, it is told, not some, mother also is told, when you find faults in others, that is in you only.
Yeah, the same thing most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah. If you find that, oh, this person is having so much anger, perhaps you have that. Because if you do not have anything in yourself, you will not find in others also. Or if you find, it does not matter to you. It disturbs you because it is provoking that part in you. That person is provoking that anger, that irritation in you. And because you have the tendency to get irritated, that. And many a times, I have seen that those people who have changed their nature through the counseling sessions and all that, they have seen that people around them have changed. They were so surprised because, they knew that now they cannot deal with this person in the usual way. Yeah. So if you are able to make this shift in your consciousness from the troubling self to the quiet inner self, it's bound to have its effect outer. Each one, we can make that shift, that change, that non-reactive attitude. The non-reactive attitude, is like a blank screen or something. And when you are there like that, the person who misbehaves can see himself or herself as if they are seeing in a mirror. And that mirror, helps them to see how distorted their face are, if they are sincere enough, of course.
But can that, if they're not sincere, can that irritation aggravate them?
Yes. Because they have all the negative tendencies, so many of them, which are not exhausted. Yeah. But then you can refuse to be the target. I mean, if somebody is coming to, with a force, you just move away, fall flat. Yeah. But all these things, again, why such people come into your life? Why? Each one of us, why?
Either
This is the important question.
either correct us.
Huh?
We are attracting
Because you are attracting them. Yes and no, both. Even if you don't attract, they can come. But I have another answer. Exactly.
Correct ourselves.
We have to learn. They are training us. They are training us.
tests.
These are tests.
Mother says that
Correct.
there is cosmic forces.
Yes.
Any kind of test we have.
Yeah. वो examiners वाला है मेरे पास. I'll bring next time. What you're talking, I know those 3 types. There are 3 examiners. I'll bring that next
How
time.
to overcome negativity?
Offer it to the mother, and stop dwelling into it. As soon as you have a negative thought, just shift to the positive one. Try and pray, because our nature is also so stubborn that it's by the mother's grace that we can change it. But we have to ask the mother to change it, to keep on asking her and keep on making effort. So it's all a training. The sadhaks have asked, how many blows, mother, I have to get in life? Mother says, as long as you need it. It's like, to the road to the divine. So they are all training. It's, like that potter.
Yeah, if you want to learn,
Ghada banata hai na, kumbhar, potter.
If we don't learn from them, we'll
Keep coming. It'll keep coming. Because, the divine mother is the great teacher. And a good teacher never leaves the student without he has learned his lessons properly. Do this sum again and again. Write this essay 100 times. She's the mother after all. She has to mold us. And that is why in the olden times, when the Shishya used to go to study at the Guru's place, Guru Shishya Parampara days, and leaving their home, in the initial days, the Guru, I have read these stories, that the Guru would not even look at the student. Said, okay, go and wash this, go and bring wood from this thing. And the person is thinking, when am I going to learn? When am I going to learn? And be very strict, very hard. What happens? It's trying to mold the ego. It's molding the ego to bear the discomfort. So when you are molded into having experience discomfort, and if you have preferences, all your preferences are broken. So this yoga is not easy. The more you go ahead, Mother will create circumstances which you will have to face many things which you're not comfortable with. You don't like it. You're not comfort. I mean, of course, it's to push you out of the comfort zone, put you in the situations where there are things that you don't like, you don't prefer, and you overcome all that. And you become indifferent and neutral to all that. And so there is another passage from the Mother's volumes, that one should become like a sphinx, the pyramid. You have seen the pyramid, the sphinx? To choose without preference, to execute without desire. That is the goal, and which is the toughest of the goal. To choose without preference. If you
The word itself says to
विल पावर अप्लाई करने का आ जाता है ना उसमें. If you call me at your house and you say, what do you like? And I said, oh, I like this sweet and this and that. And somehow you prepare things opposite. And if I'm able to take that without a flinch, that is the test. Or I go somewhere and totally unexpected things are there. And I'm able to take that as an opportunity. So, how to choose without preference and how to execute without desire. We will discuss that again. It's again a little deeper, because then I have to go to the teachings of the Vedanta, where they say there is a difference between Shreya and Preya. Prayas. Shreya, that means Kalyankari, that which helps us grow. And Prayas is that which our senses like. It's a great thing, but these are the things. Time is up. Let's keep silent for a minute.